In this week's spotlight of doing absolutely nothing for Black people, we are featuring Assembly Member Dr. Corey A. Jackson of the 60th District in California. He is also a part of the California Legislative Black Caucus that decided not to take reparations bills to the floor, basically so that Governor Gavin Newsom could either vote on those bills or to veto those bills, right? Now that happened as Black constituents were in the lobby. They were hoping, they were praying, they were cheering that their elected members, the Black Caucus, right, will go in there and do something. But all the while, Corey and his homies were in there with their arms folded and not doing anything. And they were going to fully go out to the lobby and lie to the people that voted for them. Okay, but I want to read to y'all something that Corey said about himself, and then what he says, I guess, other people say about him. As someone very active in advocacy, I was persuaded that the people in Sacramento didn't quite understand what our needs really are or how systems are affecting people. He felt that too often his voice and those of his constituents were being ignored by their leaders. So just like anything else, when you don't believe you're being represented effectively, you should try to be representative yourself. Well, first of all, Corey, who are you talking about? Because you were voted on, right? The people voted you in so you could go represent them. And I'm talking about Black people, but you didn't do that. On that day in August 31st, you decided that you weren't going to do anything for Black people. In fact, you were going to pretend, as I said. But this is what they say about him. The passion has earned Jackson the nickname Little Martin Luther King Jr. of the Legislature among his peers, a comparison that underscores his impact and influence from the assembly floor, where he champions bills with a cadence and eloquence reminiscent of the civil rights icon. To the streets of his home district, Jackson embodies the spirit of a leader deeply connected to his community. And it's like, you've got to be kidding me. Who in there is calling him Little Martin Luther King Jr. of the Legislature? Who is doing that? Because clearly they don't know anything about MLK, because one of the last things that MLK was trying to do was get a check for his people. He said, I am going to Washington and I am going to get a check. Now, he was talking about a reparations check. He also said that he felt that he had led his people into a burning house. So what part of any of that do you guys connect to Corey Jackson, who sat on his hands there when he had a chance to potentially get Black Californian descendants of slavery a check? Why? Because he sounds like Dr. Martin Luther King. He has the cadence of Dr. Martin Luther King. That don't do nothing for Black people. Unlike Corey Jackson, Martin Luther King was trying to get something for Black people. In fact, he died doing that. I doubt very seriously Corey Jackson is going to die getting anything for Black people, because he wouldn't even walk a bill to Gavin Newsom to get it signed or vetoed. He wouldn't do it. So to run around calling him the Little Martin Luther King of the Legislature is wild. And that just goes to show us how people just give people titles that don't even deserve it. And that's another thing. We as Black people, we just continue to elect people like that on titles and how they sound. But as I said about the other ones that I talked about, Isaac Bryan in Los Angeles and Lori Wilson up north in Sacramento, y'all gonna have to get up out of them seats. And I'm letting y'all know, Black people in California, do not vote on them to go back in 2026, because that's when the next election is. They're elected every 2 years, and Corey Jackson has been there since 2022, pretending that he is Martin Luther King Jr., all while kicking Black Californians in the tailbone. He should not have another chance to do that again. So I'm going to make it my mission to make sure that you guys are aware of what these clowns have been doing to Black people and not doing for Black people, all while championing everything else for everybody else, like the migrants who do not have blood, sweat, and tears in the soil of California like my ancestors do. So anyway, for more insightful commentary, please subscribe to this channel and my channel, The Demetra Kaye Show, here on YouTube.